that goes back to high school. A lot of familiarity there. And, last season, Jake Short was moving along and progressing, and then tore his hamstring in a match against Sorensen last year at the Big Ten tournament, and so he, as a result, didn't have the nationals that he would like to have. But Brandon Sorensen, that elite group of 149-pound wrestlers. I don't count the national champion Jason Surtis out of this at all, champion from a couple years ago, but Sorensen had a big win against Surtis, and then, of course, the job that Zane Rutherford's doing. The top three in this weight class, Shane, are just, they've separated themselves, and I think that you can make a pretty strong case that maybe even the top two have separated themselves.
I would agree. Intermat rankings, 5 of the top 6 in the Big Ten, and Sorensen strikes first. Common theme here tonight. The Hawkeyes on the board early and often, lead it 2-0. You mentioned Rutherford, Sorensen, Surtis, Soufflot number 5 from Nebraska, Pantaleo 6, not to mention Hunter Stieber at 11, and here's Short at 13. Big Ten's at 149 is going to be fireworks all day.
No doubt about it. So take a look at Sorensen, and maybe, we got a good look last week when we saw Illinois and Penn State and Zane Rutherford go out there and put up a lot of points. He puts more pressure, visual pressure on his opponents than anybody in the country. On the feet, working the head, definitely in the top position, can get out easily. Sorensen can do all these things equally as well, but probably has the best defense on the feet. If you had to really say, well, what position may you, they say it's a tie. Well, if you have that, it makes for tough, hard-nosed matches. And if Sorensen can slow down, somebody like Rutherford, he's got an opportunity to go ahead and compete. It's unfortunate we don't get to see the Iowa and Penn State until the Big Ten championships, but it's looking like it might be that type of matchup.
Inside of a minute, 2-1 Sorensen with the takedown. Sorensen last year, 40-6, the first Hawkeye since 1999 to win 40 matches in a single season. That was one shy of matching Ed Bannock's single season freshman record, elite company.
Yeah, anytime you're mentioned with Eddie Bannock and some of the great Hawkeye wrestlers of all time, Eddie just struck fear in the hearts of most guys that he went against, and because he kept such great pace, always looking for the fall.
With that 3-1 victory and sudden victory over Surtis at the Midlands, Sorensen shared Big Ten Wrestler of the Week honors with Bo Nickel that week who won the Southern Scuffle. That was back in early January.
Yeah, and I think that what you look for, Short is a tough guy to score on. He can, a lot like Alec Pantaleo at this weight class, guys that are kind of built the same, have the same style. Pantaleo maybe a little bit more offense. Going out there and getting a couple, 3 takedowns is a pretty good achievement in a match like this. Short's going to take the down position, and like draw the comparisons to Zane Rutherford, but like Rutherford, doesn't concede escapes, doesn't give you anything, and doesn't do it with the legs, but more bar arm rides and spiral rides. Comes out really hard. A lot of chest pressure on him.
The 4-time Iowa State champion Sorensen, the 4-time Minnesota State champion from Simley High School, Jake Short, 2-1 match, your early second.
Yeah, peeling the arms right there. Now Sorensen's going to come back to the wrist. He reached for the ankle there, was able to capture the wrist. Good job of keeping his chest up and back pressure in, but that was also an equally excellent job of Sorensen staying with the guy.
And one thing you appreciate, Jim, and Sorensen, when we watch him a lot of times, they're very close matches, but it's like a 1-0 baseball game. It's an art. You appreciate that.
Yeah, I really do. How about those matches last year with Greg Haudeschel? That was an intentional release. He's got the riding time up to 1 minute exactly. So looking to get bonus points at this stage. And, personally, with you guys that you've had a lot of history with in high school, and these guys have wrestled quite a bit, you're looking to create that separation, guys that can prove that you've improved more than the other guy.
Sorensen coming off a 6-5 win over Jake Soufflot. Also beat Soufflot at the Midlands 7-4, so the Cornhuskers were able to narrow the gap a little bit. But as we said, 149 here, the Big Ten is stacked.
If Soufflot is one of those guys too, if he could get out from the bottom position, he's right there with them too. But he, in these big matches against these higher ranked guys, he hasn't been able to do that.
in that match at the Midlands anyway. Sorensen took him down 3 times, I believe, in that first period, and really set the stage, the tone for the rest of the match.
Yeah, I like what Soufflon does as far as his pace goes, but this is where the Iowa coaching staff would like to see more attempts. And then if you're, Jay, he just wants to get his guys to go out there and compete. He understands, talking to him today, that he's a heavy underdog in this meet. And, of course, didn't get any better with the first 2 bouts. But you just want your guys to go out and fight in this environment because, Shane, they're going to be back here in a month.
Down.
And what's it going to be like? And I promise
and
you.
hold. Clean start. Same thing, guys.
There are 10,000 of my fellow Iowans here, and I said this before last broadcast. If you have any inclination of getting a seat for the Big Tens, you better order it right now and through your respective school because these fans will fill the rest of it up rather quickly.
Sorensen to his feet. Peels the hands, and back out in front is the Hawkeye, 3-2. Riding time at the moment, a non-factor. Sorensen's favor, 52 seconds. You see these guys, Jim, right now, ear to ear, heavy on the head.
Yeah, and that's, I talked to a few of the guys that have wrestled, Sorensen. It's just very tough to get underneath him. It wouldn't seem like that's the case, but it's tough to get underneath him.
And one thing you've recognized, Jim, about Sorensen is he's able to capitalize on his shots.
Yeah, he is. I think that's one thing that the coaching staff at Iowa, Tom Brands, has said, more attempts will give you more finishes because he's almost batting 1,000 on his finishes. Use the baseball analogy. His finishes are, once he's in, he scores.
Talked about his high school career, the 4-time state champion Sorensen, tied for the most wins in the history of the Iowa High School Athletic Association. A couple of team championships as well at Denver High School and Cedar Falls. Inside of a minute, Sorensen still up 3-2. And the one thing with short, strong, physical, maintains position, but unable to find any angles.
Yeah, neither one of these guys are getting too much of an angle, Shane. It's like they've got, there's a straight-on shot. But notice how he's able to improve. He gets to a little bit better corner. All right, gets to a corner's in better position to move. And he does a nice job of keeping position. So you ask yourself, if he did that 3 or 4 more times, this might be a major.
Takedown at the edge for the Hawkeye, and now Sorensen widens the gap, 5-2.
But there's nothing wrong with that finish. Boy, that is sweet, airtight, as I call it. There was really no opportunity for Short to improve his position.
Thing that stands out for me, Jim, in watching Sorensen, he's got great patience and feel.
Clean start.
Yeah, particularly on his finishes. Yeah.
And hold. Cover.
And if you're that good finishing,
and
you want to be a little bit more impatient on the attacks.
Another workmanlike performance for Brandon Sorensen. Couple of takedowns, the difference. It'll be a decision. His 20th victory of the season. 5-2, Sorensen over Short. And the Hawkeyes extend their lead on the team scoreboard, 15-3.